Let's get it going.
Ask yourself one question. Do I feel lucky? Well, do you?
It's time to flip a coin and find out.
Well, we need to know what we're calling it for here.
We're calling it to see who's got the best sports knowledge here on the Coin Flip with Martin Kelly
And Jacob Zimmerman.
Flip it again.
Yeah. Welcome into episode 39 of the Coin Flip podcast. You're listening to me, Jacob Zimmerman. Across from me in the Jennings building in the Radio Dixie studios is the one and only Martin Kelly. What's up?
Damn you stole my intro. Anyway, what's up, Jacob? What's up, Jacob, man? It's good to hear your voice again. Another week in the books, man, the Coin Flip podcast. We keep it going, brother. We just try to have some fun with this. Jacob, what do we got on the rundown?
The rundown. We're going to open up talking about some breaking news, and then we're going to get into the NBA. Of course, we got to talk about NBA first, the playoffs. We'll get into the Western and Eastern Conference Finals previews. That's the Clippers and Phoenix Suns versus the Atlanta Hawks and the Milwaukee Bucks. And then we'll get into Brooklyn, Utah, and Philly. What the hell happened to them in the second round? We'll break that all down. And then we got to talk about Cole Beasley, his comments on the vaccine, as well as is Aaron Rodgers really trying to get out of Green Bay? I know you wanted to talk about this, so we'll go back and forth on this one. And then other sports, NHL, I know it's getting closer and closer to the finals, just like the NBA. I know you got a lot to say on that. Yeah. Then we'll go over to NASCAR. There was a Nashville winner, and then I got the rant.
I can guess what the rant is on because you and I were talking about this 3 days ago, and I already kind of know where you're going with it.
What's your guess?
I'm guessing you're going towards KD. I'm guessing you're going to rip KD apart.
I'm actually going to talk a little bit about KD, but it has nothing to do with ripping KD or the Nets.
All right, well, can't wait to hear it. Let's go push that NBA button. Let's get this started.
Doncic pulls up, three-pointer. Bang! Bang! It's good! Doncic wins the game at the buzzer! It's off to Leonard, defended by Simmons. Is this the dagger? Here's Michael at the foul line. A shot on Elo. Good! The Bulls win it! They win it! 3 and 2. LeBron to win the game. He does! He does! The ball comes in. Kobe's got it. Above the three-point line, taking a little bit of time. One dribble, pull up. To the win. He got it! The Lakers win! McKee gets it in the middle for the win. It's there! With 2. Wade puts it up for the win. Yeah, baby!
Oh my, we are witnessing one of the great players to ever play in this league. And man, I hope it lasts for another 7, 8, 9 years, baby.
So, Jacob. So, speaking of breaking news, let's break this news. I don't know if you saw it this morning. I
saw it this afternoon.
The Supreme Court of the United States has agreed in a 9-0 vote that players that receive academic help in whatever way they can need that help in academics, whether it's money or actually getting tutored, they will not get penalized that on their scholarships, because right now you cannot accept any academic help or actually any academic tutoring help on your scholarships. Yeah, I know, it seems really ridiculous, doesn't it? But there have been students that have gotten in trouble, athletic students that have gotten in trouble for outside tutoring help, whether that's actually paying somebody or outside of the own facility that the own tutoring they offer at the school. Any outside tutoring help goes against your scholarship. You can actually lose that scholarship. The Supreme Court of the United States ruled against the NCAA, and it said that's a stupid rule. Your student athletes can now accept academic help, whether it's via money or outside tutoring. So also, let's break the news. Carl Nassib, we'll break this a little bit more in the NFL, came out and said he was gay. He came out and said it on I think it was on his Instagram. He posted it, and then Bleacher Report, and of course everybody else ran with the story that Carl Nassib, he is playing for the
Raiders.
There you go. Oakland Raiders. Came out and he said he was gay. Takes a lot of balls to come out like that. You know what? If I say it as, you know what, whoever you want to like, go and like that person. Doesn't bother me. You
hit it on the head, my friend.
It is what it is.
Me and you, we like the opposite gender. Yeah. But do we care if we're watching a football game and one of the dudes in there likes someone of the same gender? No. It doesn't make a difference. It doesn't change the on-field product at all. I think the NFL shouldn't be worried about this.
No, it doesn't do that at all. So let's move on to the NBA segment here. Jacob, I know you're glued to your TV watching as many Western and Eastern Conference final games and other rounds of basketball as you can, because I know how big of an NBA fan you are. Let's talk about Los Angeles Clippers and the Phoenix Suns. Already one game in the books in this conference final matchup. Phoenix won last night. We're recording this on Monday? Yeah, Monday. On the 21st. They won Sunday night, 120-114 over the Los Angeles Clippers. Devin Booker had his first career triple-double in this game. Jacob, who is going to win this series and how many games, and what should we expect from this series overall?
In this series, I think it's going to surprise you, but I'm going to go out on a limb and I'm going to say the Phoenix Suns are going to win in 5.
Ooh.
Here's why.
A gentleman's sweep.
Mainly because I don't think Kawhi Leonard's coming back. They announced he's not going to play in the next game either way. There's something going on. This injury is very mysterious. We haven't heard a whole lot from the Clippers about it. And so since we have had no timetable at all, I'm just going to assume Kawhi is not going to play again the rest of the series, and that's where my prediction comes in. Chris Paul, I think he's going to be back for probably Game 2 or Game 3, but the fact that they won without Chris Paul just goes to show that this series is not going to last too long. Devin Booker took over, 40-point triple-double, as you said. And I've been talking about the Phoenix Suns a lot with friends or people at work. And what I always tell them is the Phoenix Suns are the deepest team in the league right now. As far as maybe not going deep into your bench, but as far as having all of your starters be quality starters, 1 through 5, Chris Paul, Jay Crowder, Devin Booker, Mikal Bridges, and DeAndre. Why am I? Anyway,
DeAndre Ayton.
Having to name off too many names is hard. Anyway, they're so deep. They had 6 guys in double digits. Add Cam Johnson into there, and all those guys had double digits last night. D-Book has 40. Ayton has 20. How do you lose? Yeah. How do you lose in a game like that? You're just simply not going to. The other team has to go insane asylum mode, as Skip Bayless likes to say about the Jazz. But Paul George has really, really kind of reversed the trend this year. Every now and then he'll have a hiccup game and the memes will come back. But Paul George has been pretty damn excellent in the recent games, and I think he's going to do all he can. But Terrence Mann simply is not a guy you can rely on to get 30 every single night, although he was amazing against Rudy. I think the Clippers just don't have enough right now.
I agree with you, but I think it'll go 6. We've seen this trend with the Clippers in their first 2 series, which is they lose the first 2 games. You got that identity of, they're chokers still. They've only reached their first conference finals in 51 years of being a franchise versus, their big brothers in the Los Angeles Lakers, who have probably been to about 30 or 40 conference finals in their entire history. So, but we have seen this trend, and let's give credit to Ty Lue. You know Ty Lue as well as anybody. He was the head coach for LeBron James during the Cleveland Cavalier runs and led them to that 3-1 comeback in the NBA Finals. So he knows how to adjust to different styles of offense. We saw that as he did it in Cleveland, and we're seeing that in Los Angeles, considering they've had to face young superstar talent. First one was Luka Doncic and how explosive he is and how he can, generate so much offense on his own or with his own team. And then Donovan Mitchell, same way. He can generate so much offense on his own or he can generate that with his team. And now you have another team in Devin Booker and DeAndre Ayton and Chris Paul. But the difference with this is that it's not one guy. It's Chris Paul. It's Devin Booker. It's DeAndre Ayton. It's Jay Crowder. It's, Mikal Bridges. It's Cameron Payne. It's, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's not just one superstar you got to fight. It's an entire team you got to fight. On top of that, The Phoenix Suns are 6-0 in their last playoff games. They have not lost since that loss to the Los Angeles Lakers when they went down 2-1 and they came back to win the next 3 games to win that series. So to a team that hasn't lost since the first round, swept their opponent in the second round, and take game 1 in the third round, that tells me that this team is ready for the playoffs. They have been ready for a long time. That expectation that, not expectation, but that thought in our mind before the playoffs was, are Utah and Phoenix really deserving to be the number 1 and 2 seeds of the Western Conference? Did they get away with it because the Los Angeles Clippers tanked in their last 2 games, or Denver didn't have their entire, roster with them at the beginning of the playoffs, or Damian Lillard could not get Portland back to what he wants them to be, or Los Angeles Lakers fell apart late in the season? Did they earn those 2 seeds, or were they given those 2 seeds? And Utah, we're going to talk about them, but Phoenix, they earned that 2 seed. They earned it the hard way. Yep. They have proven everybody wrong, and they're here for a reason. I'm taking the Suns in 6 games. I think this is going to be a bit of a dogfight. Paul George is playing like he used to in Indiana, not like he did in Oklahoma City, which was a failure, but
like he did in the regular season in Oklahoma.
Like, the playoffs is different, but he's playing like he did in those Eastern Conference Finals against the Miami Heat. I'm still taking the Suns in 6.
When looking back at predictions I made for the Western Conference seeding, I don't know why I didn't think the Suns were going to be higher. I think I had the Suns more down in the lower half of like the 5 through 8 seededs. I don't know why I didn't look at what Chris Paul did with the Oklahoma City Thunder and be like, of course he's going to elevate that team. 8-0 in the bubble combined with Chris Paul.
And they went 4-0. You're right. They went 8-0 in the bubble, and they just have gotten better. Sorry, I cut you off.
No, you're good. They still wasn't enough to make the playoffs back then, I believe. But
nonetheless.
Now we can't say enough good things about the Phoenix Suns.
We cannot. Nonetheless, let's move on to the other matchup, the Milwaukee Bucks and the Atlanta Hawks. The Milwaukee Bucks, first time reaching their finals in forever, and for the Atlanta Hawks, it's been the first time in completely forever. I think it's been since 58 since they reached that conference finals. Jacob, what are we going to expect from this matchup as Game 1 will take place tomorrow night on Wednesday night?
Since 58? Wow. If that's true, that's
right.
Crazy.
I think that's true.
Did Dominique never get into the conference finals?
No, sorry. They haven't been to the finals since 58. They made it to they made it to the conference finals when they were the number 1 seed, and they got swept right out of the playoffs by LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers in 2015. Right.
Since then, the Hawks have been doomed, but they've turned it around, and I don't think anyone at the start of the season, especially Ben Simmons, thought that the Hawks would be this far into the playoffs. Trae Young has really came out this playoffs as far as being that dog, being that villain. This is his coming out party, and it started off with a bang in Madison Square Garden where he talked the talk, he walked the walk, he threw up the A, and he backed it up when he went to the A. And he's had a few off games. The other night, Martin, he was 5 of 23. He was putrid in that game, but the big, deep 3 was a dagger in the 76ers' hearts, and that's why they were able to move on. But I'm excited for this series. Talk about the Hawks. They're not just Trae Young. It's Bogdanovich, Kevin Huerter. Gallinari was showing signs of life finally there in the playoffs this year. And Clint Capella, underrated, one of the top 5. He probably would have been 3rd if I had a vote for DPOY. I mean, he made an impact on this team that was tremendous. They were a horrible defensive team before they got him, and since then, they've been pretty good, even with Trae Young out there trying to defend. As for Milwaukee, I'm happy for Giannis. I'm honestly rooting for him. He's going to be my fan favorite to win the title this year. Chris Middleton has really stepped it up. I was talking with my good friends a few hours ago how he thinks Giannis is really overrated. And I can understand why he says it, but the Bucks aren't overrated, I don't think, because they have enough elements to their game now that they didn't have last year with Drew Holiday. Drew Holiday's been playing like crap some of these games, and that just goes to show if he can go out there and actually ball out, they're going to clobber some teams, and that I'm not lying. And if Brent Forbes can get his 3-point shooting back, DiVincenzo's out for the playoffs. I think that's been an underrated loss. If they can get more out of Brook Lopez, had a huge block on KD. I think they really grew up so far in those last two series, overcoming the Heat and then hanging on to beat the Nets, kind of getting lucky with injuries, but regardless, they're back in the Eastern Conference Finals. They have to avenge themselves, and therefore I'm going to go Milwaukee in 6.
I got Hawks in 6. I'm going to come on straight and say that right now. I got the Hawks.
You got the Hawks going to the finals?
I got Suns versus Hawks, and I'm giving the Hawks a pretty damn good chance if they make it to the finals to win it all.
So you're also on the Giannis overhype train. Let's hear it.
No. I'm not on the Giannis is overhyped. None whatsoever. I got plenty of respect for Giannis. I believe he's a tremendous player, but I don't believe they have enough to win this series.
Okay.
And listen, Trae Young is Trae Young. He's not a great three-point shooter. We kind of gravitated towards this idea that he's, Steph Curry 2.0. He's going to be knocking down, 40-foot and 35-foot three-pointers. He's going to be, turning around, with the, the three-up and being, all swagger and just that, next, greatest shooter of all time. Let's slow it down. His ability to pass and his ability to actually run an offense is more impressive to me than his actual shooting ability, because he has averaged double-digit assists in these playoffs 5 times, Jacob. 5 times the dude has averaged double-digit assists. He's got James Harden ability to pass the ball, and he's got Steph Curry range to shoot this. Listen, I look at the Milwaukee Bucks, and I say to myself, can Giannis really take that next step? Is he ready for that next step? Is it really his time to take that next step? And I say to myself, I don't think so. I think in this series they could have used a Michael Brogdon, a guy that can pass the ball, that can shoot, that can take some pressure off of, Giannis to score all the points. I like Chris Middleton. We've always said it before. Chris Middleton is that, top player that they like to make him the number 2. Has he played always like a number 2? Yeah, from time to time he's played like a number 2, but there's been days where he looks like he's played like the number 5 on the team or below than that. But I think the Hawks win this series. I think they win it in 6. I think they have enough shooting to take Milwaukee out of the building. I think they don't have a real answer for Giannis. I think Giannis will get what he wants, but can they answer the question of Middleton or Holiday or Tucker or those type of guys? I think they can answer those questions. I think, as long as you give Trae Young enough time to run the offense and do what he does, you're going to see Phoenix Suns and the Atlanta Hawks in the NBA Finals. And
my goodness.
Did any of us expect that at the beginning of the playoffs? No, we all thought it was either going to be Clippers in Brooklyn or Lakers in Brooklyn or, Lakers in Philly or Clippers in Philly. Some big market or notable team that we known that was going to make the playoffs. And, the Hawks, could have bounced out of the first round or the second round. They could have had a great year. The same thing with Phoenix. First or second round, great year, but they're here, and they might make it to the NBA Finals.
Goodness.
Phoenix hasn't been there since 93. Atlanta hasn't been there since 58. Somebody's about to break their drought record for a long, long time. And Clippers have never made it to the Finals, and Milwaukee hasn't made it to the Finals since 72. So,
can you imagine if the Phoenix Suns won the championship this year? They went from not making the playoffs, they get Chris Paul, all their players improve, and all of a sudden they win the championship.
Now the question,
that would elevate Chris Paul so high on people's all-time lists.
Next question is, would Chris Paul take an extension with Phoenix and stay, or does he still want to become the Wild West gun that you got to hire to help your team out? Because that's basically what he's been doing for the last 3 years.
It's a great role, but at the same time, Phoenix is only going to get better, man.
All right, let's talk about the losers in the playoffs. Let's talk about the 3 main losers. We already talked about Denver last week because they got swept by Phoenix, but Utah, Brooklyn, and Philly, the top 2 seeds in these playoffs are gone. The second seed on the eastern side of the conference is gone as well. Jacob, what happened to these 3 powerhouse teams that we expected to be competing for the championship, not booking fishing trips to wherever they're about to go?
Brooklyn, what happened with Brooklyn? Pretty simple. Injuries.
Or what I told you.
Well, unless we're playing the card that everyone played when the Lakers lost. And it's, the Lakers just couldn't get it done. They couldn't get it done. They fell apart at the end of the season and they couldn't get it done. No, I'm going to be fair. I could come out here and I could rip KD, I could rip Harden, but I understand why they lost the series. For one, Joe Harris sold in that series. Two, James Harden was clearly not healthy out there. He clearly wasn't. He wasn't playing his style of basketball that we all have seen over the past couple of years. And Kyrie, he just wasn't out there flat out at all. He got hurt in the first game, correct?
Kyrie got hurt in the second game.
Okay. In game 2. So it pretty much was.
No, game 3. That was game 3. That was the game that KD almost hit the buzzer beater.
It was Harden who got hurt in game 1.
Yes.
Okay, so pretty much the whole series, it was 3 versus 1, 2.5 versus 1.
It was more like 1 versus 5.
Yeah. I'm talking about like the big 3 of the Bucks versus the big 3 of the Nets, and KD played one hell of a series, man. That game, he took over his super long feet that are like hockey sticks, bro. Not even lying.
His feet are just as big as mine, dude. He has size 17 shoes. I wear size 16. He is just one touch.
I thought I saw
bigger.
something of he's size 18.
Wow. He could be. I got size 18 shoes
his feet
as well.
Are not wide. They're just long, lengthy. Yep. So 1 inch, and he ends that game on the three-pointer. Only 1 second left. It would have been over. But props to Giannis. Toe-to-toe with KD. He had 40 in that game. I saw a stat, and it showed the stat lines of his last 5 games. And each of them he had, I think, over 30 points or almost right at 30 points, was above 50% or almost right at 50%, had double digits rebounds in every single one of them, and had a couple assists as well. So he played spotless to finish the series. Credit to Giannis. Middleton was not showing up. Holiday was not showing up. They still got it done. Giannis would have had all the blame on his shoulders, and he pulled them through anyway. Props to Giannis on that. But Brooklyn fell apart. Then, for Utah, wow. Martin, I literally stopped watching that game because I thought it was over.
I thought 25. It was too. I checked it at halftime on my phone because I was watching the hockey, and I checked it, and I'm like, 25-point lead. This is over. And then I started watching the second half, and I went to bed, and I was like, I woke up, and all my roommates are like, oh, yeah, the Jazz blew it. I'm like, huh?
Yeah.
Like, what?
Dude, I went into my room for a couple minutes, and then I think I got off a notification on my phone. I just walked back out to the main area where the TV was, and the game was within a couple points. Just like that. It was literally from about 10 minutes to 1 minute left in the quarter, and that 9-minute stretch, 25 points or 22 points was blown.
All Jazz fans are asking themselves, even afterwards, who in the hell is Terrence Mann, and where did this dude come from? Why is it now? Seriously, who in the hell is Terrence Mann? I've never heard of him until the playoffs, dude.
Yeah. I mean, it was crazy, and the real reason Utah fell apart is that Rudy Gobert cannot defend perimeter players. He's a DPOY. But when it comes to the playoffs and playoff basketball, and all these smaller teams that are athletic and can switch like crazy and are playing positionless basketball, it's tough for a team like the Jazz, who are a little bit on the old school side of the current day NBA. And I've thought about some potential Rudy Gobert trades. I mean, I think a lot of people think that's too early, but I can kind of foresee into the future, how good can you really be if Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert are your superstar, quote-unquote superstar duo? I don't see that duo winning a championship, even if they have great supporting cast. I think you need to somehow get another player on the squad who could one day be better than Gobert is right now all around. And then, as for Philly, we all know what happened with Ben Simmons. The entire media has been ripping him apart. He can't shoot free throws. He is afraid to shoot. He doesn't even drive the basketball anymore. You've all heard it. So I'm going to talk about someone else. Tobias Harris. Seriously, Tobias Harris is the luckiest guy on planet Earth right now because Ben Simmons is taking all the blame when repeatedly, playoff series after playoff series, year after year, Tobias Harris falls way short of that $180 million contract that he is on. And he is getting paid like $35 million a year.
$30 million.
I think it's more than that.
It might be.
I don't know. Anyway, it's a 5-year deal.
I'm looking at it.
So it's got to be a little bit more than 30. Anyway, Tobias Harris has played like garbage, and Joel Embiid carried the team the entire year. Seth Curry.
$36 million.
Yeah, per year.
Per year.
Wow.
$36 million.
The math on that. That is way too much. He's being paid to be, think about this, he's being paid to be one of the top 10 players in the NBA.
Top 5.
He's not even
top 20.
Top 40. He's not top 40
I would say top 30.
Okay, but in the playoffs, he doesn't even play like he's top 50. So that's the problem right there with Philly. You're missing a 2. Ben Simmons can't shoot, but the real problem is you don't have a guy like you had in Jimmy Butler. That is the problem. Martin, what do you think went on with these teams?
All right, so to wrap them all up here, because we got to kind of keep this show moving here, but...
My fault.
You're all right. But to wrap them all in 3, and I'll break them down by bit as well. To wrap them all in 3, they were all these teams were too comfortable. All these teams, besides... All these 3 teams had gentleman sweep series, which was 5 games in the first round. Philly versus Washington, that was 5 games. Utah versus Memphis, that was 5 games. And then Brooklyn versus Boston, that was 5 games. And then in the second round, Brooklyn, what did I bring up before? What did I tell you before twice on this show? The bench did not show up. And when the injuries happened to the big 3 superstars that I told you could happen.
Well, they had no bench. This thing.
And that's the main point that I made. They have put all their eggs into one basket, into a top 3 superstar team. And guess what? You sacrifice your bench in the depth on shooting, in just having bodies, and just having a cohesive team together. Guess what? Spencer Dinwiddie realized that, and he's opting out of his contract because he doesn't want to be in Brooklyn because he's being forgotten on the bench. To Utah, they need a small ball lineup, dude. They need someone where they can take Rudy Gobert out of the lineup and install someone that can take on that small ball responsibility. If I'm Donovan Mitchell, I'm knocking on Dwayne Wade's door going, hey, how much do we have to give up and how much of a sacrifice do I have to take to get Damian Lillard in a Utah Jazz jersey? Everybody's up for sale besides Donovan Mitchell. I'm calling Portland being like, how many draft picks do you want? How many players do you want besides Donovan Mitchell? I want Damian Lillard in a Utah Jazz jersey.
You know what? That's not... to be honest, the Blazers need defense. And before I heard that trade package today, I never thought about that. And it's not terrible, but first of all, Damian would not want to go to Utah.
Why not? He went to Weber State. He knows Northern Utah.
Okay, maybe he didn't like it there. Who knows? Anyway, but that is one hell of a proposal because if they had Dame and Donovan, they're going to go, you realize they're going to average like 70 combined points in the playoffs.
Seriously. And then finally, go. And then finally to wrap it up on Philly, Doc Rivers' legacy is destroyed. Doc Rivers' legacy is over. It's done. That 2008
most overrated coach in NBA
that
history.
2008 run, that 2010 run, over.
On
it's
the
done.
players.
It's all on the players. It was all on Kevin Garnett. It was all on Paul Pierce. It was all on Ray Allen. It was all on Rajon Rondo. If he would have had a healthy, trying to remember his name, Kevin Perkins, they would have won the 2010 finals.
They say Tom Thibodeau, the assistant coach, really won the chip for him.
It's all overrated. Doc Rivers is over. He's done. Retire from the game. Also, this is not Ben Simmons' fault. This is a Philadelphia 76ers fault. Philadelphia 76ers, like Ben Simmons, do not give a shit. They do not give a shit about whether he can shoot the ball or not. They're still trying to push that narrative that trust the process. The process is dead.
Trusting the process was going through the draft. They don't have a top pick. They haven't had a top pick in years.
They are done. Anyway, let's move on to the NFL segment. We've talked way too long about the NBA.
Ice up, son. Ice up.
Sanders still on his feet. Sanders is gone. Barr with daylight and time goes for the whole thing. Touchdown! Green Bay leads. Brett Favre.
Rice, he's open. No flags are down. Touchdown.
And here's a sack. Lawrence Taylor comes over the top.
Leon left. No.
Delone fires to an open Smith. Steve Smith is going to go all the way. No flags down. Smith scores, and the Carolina Panthers win in overtime.
6 seconds. Murray heaves it downfield. It is. Oh, it's caught. It is caught. DeAndre Hopkins.
He did what?
As usual, he did what? He did what? He did what? And speaking of he did what, Cole Beasley, Jacob, came out on social media. The NFL came out with new rules that if people have their COVID tests, if people have their vaccine fully vaccinated, they do not have to go through COVID restrictions. If you do not have your vaccine or have only had one shot of the vaccine, you have to still go through COVID restrictions. And Cole Beasley came out and said, damn all that. I do not care. I'm not getting my COVID shots. Everybody leave me alone. You guys all suck. How, blah, 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 blah. And everybody's been ripping him on social media about how dare you not get the COVID vaccine? How dare you not get the COVID vaccine? Don't you want to keep other players healthy and all that? And he's basically came out and said, I really don't care. I just want to play football. Now, Jacob, I can relate this to you and me. Now, I've gotten fully vaccinated. I've gotten my 2 shots. I don't know whether you got your 2 shots or not.
Nope.
So, my only point on this is this. All right, I'm not trying to make this a you and me argument, but I'm trying to relate it to the Cole Beasley situation. Okay. It is, I'd rather get the COVID shots because I'm not only trying to protect myself, I'm trying to protect my body just in case I get COVID, because then it can actually fight the disease without trying to actually freak out and go in an overdrive and be like, oh my God, what the hell is this? We don't know what's going on. And I'm trying to protect everybody else. All right. I care about it, everybody else. I got a big heart. Okay. I'm a passionate person. That's just who I am. I know you. It's not whether you don't care about people or not. It's that you just didn't want to get the shot. And I respect that. You're still my best friend. You're still my buddy. I still want to hang out with you. But in Cole Beasley's situation, you're getting paid millions of dollars to catch a football. Dude, you cannot get anybody else sick on the field, and you cannot get yourself sick, man. Why are you going to cost yourself millions of dollars just because you won't get the COVID shot? That's my only point, Jacob.
I can understand the frustration if you're on the side of, I don't really want to get it, and now I feel like I'm forced to get it. Because the NFL is kind of, they're not saying we want you to get vaccinated, but they're basically in their rules saying we really want you to be vaccinated because we're going to make it a lot easier on you. And so I can understand how that can rub people the wrong way. You brought up you and me. I personally am just not really interested in getting it just because I feel like I keep myself pretty healthy. And I think that there are people out there who don't really take good care of themselves. And sooner or later, something's going to come along and talk about, I feel like immunity hasn't been talked about enough. I think there's been diseases in the history of the earth. And I mean, people can decide what they want to do on it. I haven't really thought a whole lot farther than that, but I know that I probably wouldn't have been as, I don't know if I didn't see like the context of his comments, so I don't know if he was like aggressive or anything like that, but I probably wouldn't have been like, I don't know if he was rude, so I can't really say anything on that, but I would have been careful on how I said it. I probably would have just had the, I personally don't want it opinion, but if anyone wants to get it, that's totally fine with me. I just know that I'm going to do my best to eat healthy, continue to keep myself in good physical shape.
Totally respect that. still my best buddy. So obviously
And I respect your opinion too.
Talking about people in shape, that's totally the opposite of me. But nonetheless, you keep yourself in shape, and you look at me, you're like, man.
Hey man, I don't judge.
But anyway, all right, let's move on from Cole Beasley. Let's move on to another drama. We keep talking about this. I don't know if you saw it. So Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Bison DeChambeau, and there's one more golfer. They're going to do this like match challenge where Tom Brady versus Aaron Rodgers in a golf tournament, right? And they're going to bet on money, and they're going to donate it to charities and whatnot, right? So Aaron Rodgers came out with a shirt that said, "I'm offended," and everybody was trying to read into this shirt is, what does it mean? What does it mean? Does he still want out? Does he still want out? And I'm on the side of Aaron Rodgers desperately wants out of Green Bay because he is tired of being treated like crap, man. He is tired of being treated like, you're supposed to play for the Green Bay Packers. You're supposed to play for us because that is your job. You are, this is your only home. This is the only jersey you're ever going to wear. And try telling that to Tom Brady. Try telling that to Peyton Manning. Try telling that to Randy Moss. Or try telling that to any of these legendary superstars that move on from other teams and go to a different team and try to tell them that you're wrong in the decision you made. And to me, I don't know where Aaron Rodgers goes. It could be Denver. Could be, Detroit. Could be wherever he goes. I don't really know.
Detroit.
Could go to Carolina. Could go wherever he wants to go. But why hold back the man from what he wants to do? And Green Bay, here's the thing. Green Bay has no leverage right now. If Jordan Love comes out in training camp and comes out in these preseason games and shows that he can take the reins from Aaron Rodgers, all the leverage is on the Green Bay Packers, and they'll make Aaron Rodgers look like the bad guy instead of what Aaron Rodgers looks like right now, which is the victim. Go ahead.
I don't think Jordan Love puts any pressure on Aaron Rodgers. I'm sorry. There's a difference between a starter and a superstar.
True.
He's obviously trying to get out of Green Bay. I don't know why he wore the shirt. He's probably just trying to troll us all. Let's be real. I mean, come on. Aaron Rodgers is just having fun during this whole thing. He wants to get out. He saw what Tom Brady just did and won a Super Bowl. And speaking of him, Tom Brady was saying how there was a couple teams and that he had in mind of who he was going to choose after the Patriots. And at the end, one of the teams backed out on him and didn't want him anymore. And he was thinking in his head, in the quote, I don't know if you saw it, he was like, "You want that mother blanker over me?" Or something.
Yeah,
you still want that mother blanker?
And that was Drew Brees in New Orleans because Drew Brees didn't want to retire, and Tom Brady would have ended up in New Orleans with.
It was. How do you know it was the Saints? He didn't say what.
All the reports were pointing toward that, and the Saints came out and said, "Yeah, Tom Brady was actually going to come here before Tampa Bay."
What?
Yeah. So
when did you saw it later today?
I not saw it later today. I saw when all those stories came out. It basically came out a long time ago. But if Drew Brees would have retired, it would have been Tom Brady and Sean Payton.
There's no way he said that about Drew Brees, though. There's no way. I was thinking maybe he was going to go to Tennessee.
No, it was New Orleans.
You sure?
Yes, I'm 100% sure.
Anyways. That's going to do it for the NFL side.
I mean, you're just in total shock right now. Regardless, he would have been in the NFC South and he would have been ripping the Carolina Panthers, man. He would have been ripping the Carolina Panthers.
What else is new?
I feel your pain, man. Listen, my mayor, we were talking about this the other day. The mayor of Chicago came out and was ripping the Chicago Bears about leaving Chicago to go to Arlington Heights, which is a suburb of Chicago, about building their new potential stadium. And she came out firing shots. She's like, how about they worry about a season finally beating the Packers rather than trying to find a new home to go play in? And I was like, oh, she dropped the bomb right there. So I feel your pain, brother. I feel your pain. The Chicago Bears have been embarrassed by the Green Bay Packers, and the Carolina Panthers, they've had great seasons, but damn those New Orleans Saints, right? Damn those New Orleans Saints.
It's not the Saints every year, but
yeah, you get what I'm pointing. All right, let me push that button. Let's talk about some other sports.
5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes! 20 years of trying, 20 years of frustration. Dale Earnhardt will come to the caution flag to win the Daytona 500. And the ball is free. It's picked There's the pass to Leitner. Puts it up. Yes! With Konechko up. And he rips one into left. Konechko, grand slam.
Anyways, I had to push that down. Maybe you heard me. We're running through this thing pretty damn quick in the end of this because in the NFL and other sports, there isn't a whole lot to talk about yet. We're not going to get there until about August, and then everything ramps up, and then we get back to normal. But
Yes, sir.
in the NHL, Montreal and Vegas, they're tied at 2-2. Game 5 is tomorrow. There have been back-to-back overtime games in this series. 2-1 was the victory for Montreal in Game 3, and then 3-2 was the win last night for Vegas in overtime. It was pretty damn fun to watch those two games. Game 5 is tomorrow. These two teams are different. Vegas is a team that's spent money on top players. They've tried to get back to the Stanley Cup Finals. They think of themselves as one of the top teams in the league. Montreal, they're young, they're scrappy. They got veterans on this team that are just tough players and just go at each other. Very different styles. And then you got in Tampa and New York on the other side. Last time I checked, it was 3-0 through the second period. Tampa Bay, in hockey, you can do this. Is your goaltender, your starting goaltender, if you wish to pull him out of the game and actually put in your backup and put him in the rest of the game, you can actually do that in the NHL. And Tampa Bay forced New York to go from their starting goaltender to their rookie backup goaltender in the game right now, and they're losing 3-0 in Game 5, which would give Tampa Bay a 3-2 series lead going into Game 6 on Wednesday night to close out the series and move on to the Stanley Cup Finals. Tampa Bay just has all the talent, dude. Tampa Bay is like the Tampa Bay Lightning are like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They buy everybody, they have all the talent, and they just kill you with all the talent. New York, again, that's scrappy, tough, gritty. Doesn't have a whole lot of great superstars, but are just good enough to play good hockey and try to steal a series. Go ahead.
So last year in 2020, the Lakers won the chip and the Dodgers won the chip.
Yes.
So this year, it could be the Buccaneers win the chip and the Lightning win the chip.
Yep. That could happen 2 years in a row. On to NASCAR, and this one, Kyle Larson not only won 1, 2, 3. He has won 4 in a row. That's happened only so many times in the sport of NASCAR. He won the Nashville Super Speedway race, the inaugural race at that racetrack. His Hendrick Motorsports teammate, Chase Elliott, you get disqualified, Jacob. Not fined, not suspended, disqualified for having a certain amount of lug nuts, which are the things that keep your wheel and your tire on your car. And if those are loose, they can disqualify your race finish and make you force you to finish last in the race, which means you lose playoff points, you lose points to go towards the championship. You basically go from having a certain amount of points that you can say, hey, I'm still in the running for the championship, to the last person on the grid gets a goose egg. Nothing. Zero. Nada. And you get last place money, which is basically you're just like handed a bag of money and just go away. Go away. Here's your money. Go away. So they're racing at Pocono this weekend. Pocono is in the northeast. It's like in the Pennsylvania area. It's called the Tricky Triangle. It only has 3 corners. And it has straightaways that is almost 2 miles. And they're racing on Saturday and Sunday. So they're doing back-to-back races at this race. Day 1, I'm picking Kyle Larson. Day 2, I'm picking Martin Truex Jr. I'm going to go push that rant button. Let's hear what you have to say about KD, because I have a feeling I know where this is going.
It's time for the moment you've been waiting for.
The one, the only, the rant.
Oh, you're about to go blasphemous.
Fighting a scorpion, and that is final.
Will you two shut up?
Oh my God, I don't care.
You will when we're done talking about the rant. Here on the Coin Flip with Martin Kelly
and Jacob Zimmerman.
Martin, you thought I was going to come on here and just rip KD, didn't you? You did. Well, this is not ripping KD. This is going to be talking about KD and actually praising KD. But I'm also going to be praising Harden, Dame, Beal, Tatum, Green, and Booker as well. Have you seen the guys who are committing to play for Team USA this summer, Martin? USA is going to be stacked. This is going to be probably, I would say this is probably going to be the best Olympic team since the Redeem team in 2008. The team that had Kobe, had a young KD, Carmelo, Dwight, Prime D, Wade. They were all over the place. LeBron was jumping higher than we've ever seen him jump. It was crazy. Now this year, even with some of these guys dealing with injuries throughout the season, I'm surprised to see guys like KD and Harden who want to come play basketball for Team USA. Obviously, this doesn't mean a whole lot in the grand scheme of things, but it's fun to see the games. It's fun to see the highlights, and I think in some ways it kind of elevates a player's status. Maybe not these all-time players, but maybe some other guys who are like, oh, he also won an Olympic gold medal, and that can sometimes boost guys into the Basketball Hall of Fame. But for all these guys, there should be no question. They're sooner or later might have their name on a Hall of Fame ballot, but it's cool to see these guys play. For many years, we didn't see the top of the top play. I'm interested to see maybe will someone like Steph Curry want to join along as well. How many other guys will join this team? But all I know is that it's just going to get ugly for the rest of the teams. Look out if you're not Team USA, unless you're Luka Doncic, whatever countries he's from. But imagine that. Dame at the 1. Beal at the 2. Well, no, we'll give it to the young gun. We'll say Booker. Booker can start. Why not? Booker at the 2. Tatum at the 3. KD at the 4. Low minutes, though, for KD. And then Draymond or whoever big at the 5. That would be some really entertaining basketball. The amount of half-court shots we would see in the game would be crazy. Martin, I'm excited.
So, my question is, and of course, I always like taking an opportunity to rip on LeBron James.
Why is he not doing it?
Where's your boy at? Where's your boy at? Hey, listen, if Michael Jordan can do it and Kobe can do it, why not LeBron?
Because he's already done it.
So what?
He doesn't need another one, bro. I think Carmelo now is the only one with 3 gold medals, and if LeBron did it again, he would have 3 too.
So he's running away from the number 23. He wants to go back to 6, and he doesn't want to chase a 3rd gold medal, which you would know if he won that 3rd gold medal, he would have 1 more than Michael Jordan because they're tied at 2 gold medals right now because Michael Jordan won 1.
Bro, no one in the GOAT conversation is bringing up Olympic gold medals.
Boom, I'm doing it right now.
Out of here.
Boom, I'm doing it right now here on the podcast.
This has been the Coin Flip Podcast, episode 39. We will get it on YouTube and Podbean.
Hell yeah. Everybody have a good one. That's Jacob. I'm Martin. Y'all have a good one. Peace.
As always, peace.